All right, so I have my mitten and it is all laced. I hope that yours is all laced or stapled together. I am laying out my squares. You can go ahead and color these squares. As we go ahead, we're going to put the pictures in order. So it could be confusing to look at all of these. So let's think. Here, we're starting with a person, right? We have Nikki and Baba. So let's look at the pictures that have Nikki and Baba in them. There's this one, and this one. These pictures have people in them. Okay? Which picture looks like the start of the story? This one has Baba holding a little mitten and a big mitten. Was that in the beginning or in the end? That was in the end because the mitten was already stretched out from the animal. So I'm going to move this one down here. What about this one? This one has Nikki and he's thinking about snow and a mitten. Was that in the beginning? Yeah, that was in the beginning. So we can remember, if you want to use a pencil, you can write a little number 1 up in the corner. So that way you can retell the story quicker next time. So that's going to be number 1, and you can't see it, but I'm just sliding it right up here, and I'm just going to put them in line. So Nikki's thinking of a mitten. Well, let's see what this one is. This one's Nikki with one big mitten. Was that in the beginning or in the end? That was in the end, right? Okay. So now we have to look at the ones with animals. What was the first animal that went into the mitten? Oh, wait. How did the animals get into the mitten? Because the little mitten was laying on the ground, right? Nikki dropped the little mitten. So I'm going to put a little number 2 in the bottom corner. And then I'm going to put it in order up here. Okay. All right. So the little mitten is dropped on the ground. What was the first animal that went into the mitten? The mole, right? The mole was the first animal. So I'm looking to see if I see just the mole going in the mitten. I don't see just the mole, but I do see the mole, and who was second? The rabbit. So I think that this one was the third one. So I'm going to put a little number 3 and slide it up here in my line. Who came after the rabbits? The mole and the rabbit. And then the hedgehog with his pointy needles. And then the owl, right? So I'm going to put a little number 4 on this one. Slide it up here. Who came after the owl? The badger and the fox. I'm going to put a number 5. And then who was the great big one that came? The bear was the great big one that came. Stretched it so big. And then the smallest one of all, the little mouse came. I'm going to write a little number 7. Okay, the mouse is in there on top of the bear, remember? And the mouse's whiskers tickle the bear, and the bear does what? The bear sneezes a great big sneeze, and what happens to the animals? They go flying. They go flying. So I'm going to write a little number 8 and slide that one up in my line. Okay, now we're back to here. Does Nikki find the mitten first, or does Baba? Nikki does, right? So here's 9, and here's 10. All right, so you have, your squares in number order, and you can practice retelling the story. I practice retelling the story using the book, but I want you to find a sibling or an adult to practice retelling, and as I retell the story, I'm going to put the pieces in my mitten. Nikki was dreaming of snow white mittens and asked Baba to make them for him. And it goes in my mitten. Baba made his mittens, and Nikki went outside to play, but he dropped one. Slide that in there. Okay, so you practice finishing retelling the story, and then when you're done, your pieces can stay in the mitten, and then you can practice retelling the mitten story over and over and over again. I hope that you guys like this story. I hope that you have fun with this, and don't forget to color your pieces too to add more details. Have fun and happy telling your story, guys.